Hello folks, and welcome into the Truck King YouTube channel. Today we are looking at this, the all-new redesigned 2025 Ford Expedition. Now when it comes to full-size SUVs, General Motors owns this segment. So when Ford went to redesign the Expedition, they really had to do a lot to make it stand out, and they have added some pretty clever features when it comes to utility, storage, and towing, and I want to show them all to you. So in this video, we'll do a full walk around, we'll look at all the features inside and out, and then we're gonna hook up a 7,000-pound trailer and see how it tows, so make sure you stay tuned. Let's start with the power plant, and there's only one engine you can get in the new Expedition, but it does have two different outputs. This is the standard output version of the 3.5-liter V6 twin turbo EcoBoost engine. Right here it makes 400 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque. And then in the Platinum and the Tremor model, you can get that high output version, and it's making a little bit more horsepower. And right here, it's sending it through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Now this is the Expedition King Ranch. This is the top trim in the lineup, so it's getting all the luxury features and some unique styling. You're gonna notice all the bronze accents in the grille, on the bumper. The wheels have those really nice looking bronze accents too. And then yeah, the whole front end is redesigned for 2025. I think it looks pretty sharp. It's not a massively changed design, but just enough to make it look modern and a little different from the last Expedition. But you know what? Those are just what my eyes tell me. What do your eyes tell you? Drop in the comments and let me know what you think of the styling here on this new Expedition. Let's talk towing and payload now, and it's clear that Ford spent a lot of time on towing with this new Expedition. So first of all, the overall tow rating on this model we have here, which is the standard wheelbase King Ranch, is 9,600 pounds. Now, funny enough, if you get the Expedition Max model, that's the model with the longer wheelbase, towing goes down to 9,000 pounds, and that's funny because a longer wheelbase generally means a better towing experience, but it also means a heavier vehicle, and when the vehicle gets heavier, you have to subtract that from what you can tow behind it. So yes, the Max on paper can do slightly less, but in practice out on the road will probably feel a little bit better. Now another thing Ford did with this new Expedition is they now say you can tow up to 7,000 pounds off of this hitch without the need of an equalizing hitch or load leveling bars, and that's great for us because we're going to tow 7,000 pounds today without an EQ hitch, so we're really going to be able to feel, you know, if that made an actual difference out there on the road. Now another thing Ford has done here is brought all of its best towing technologies. So Pro Trailer Hitch Assist, Pro Trailer Backup Assist, all of the camera features, they're all here too. So yeah, you're not missing out really when it comes to towing with this new Expedition. Finally, let's check the payload on the door jamb. 1,360 pounds, which is a pretty good number for a full-size SUV.
Hey folks, great news. You've seen us pitching giddy-ups before. Well, we ran out last fall. Now we have a whole new supply. These ones right here. Hey, these are the synthetic type. They only come in black in this design. However, these are bargain price, 25 bucks a piece, or we'll sell you a set of 4 for 80. Listen, for anybody that needs a little help getting into their tall trucks or SUVs, giddy-ups can't be beat. So look for the link down below, click it, go right to our website. It's as easy as that. Get these in your truck today.
So now let's take a look at cargo and passenger space, starting with the baby seat situation. So we have captain's chairs. Both of these have lower latch and top tethers. In the third row, there's 3 top tethers, and then there's 2 lower latch positions, 1 driver side, 1 passenger side. And now I'll climb in. So Ford lists this at just over 41 inches of second row legroom, and I mean, it's a ton. I fit in here no problem at all. Headroom is close. I stand at 6'2", so yeah, headroom is tight, but it's still fine. I'm not rubbing, and that's all that really matters. And then what's nice is how much adjustability you have in this seat. Many, many inches of adjustability. So if you do have someone big in the third row, you can pull forward for them, or vice versa. I'm going to set it sort of in the middle. Now, another thing you might have noticed already is this big console here. This thing actually moves. It's powered, and once it's powered all the way back, the second row passengers back here can get to these cup holders. There's a slot right here. You could throw a tablet or even throw a phone in there. There's actually a little piece of rubber in there to hold it too. So that could go there if you want to watch something on it, which is nice. Second row passengers get USB-C power right here in front of them. There are two nice spots right here in the back of the seat where you can stuff different things. I'm also getting full HVAC controls over here as well. So yeah, lots of amenities for second row passengers, not to mention an HVAC vent right in your face, a speaker, a hook there, and some lights. So yeah, lots of great stuff for the second row passengers, including really comfortable seats. I should mention that too. And what's nice to see is that the second row seats are the same as the front row seats. They look like you're not missing anything as you move back. So I like to see that. Now, let's get in the third row, because that's really where these big SUVs shine. So these seats tumble and push forward. Should push a little bit more than that. Where are you going, seat? There we go. Now, let me jam in here. Put these up. I'll pull this back. So this is listed at 36.5 inches of third row legroom. And where I have this seat positioned, this is just enough. Now again, granted, this seat could go further forward. It could come further back as well. But as it is right here, it's just enough. Where I am lacking is in the headroom department. I am kind of bonking right into the roof here. Now this does recline. So if I recline it just a little bit and find kind of a happy medium, that's a little bit better. But then I'm also hitting this hump behind my head. So yes, headroom in the third row is not the best. But I would say legroom is decent for a third row. Now, when it comes to amenities, I'm also getting two USB-C ports and a couple of cup holders over here as well. So yeah, not a bad third row. I would say not quite as good as a Chevy Tahoe. If that's what we're comparing it to, yes, the GMs really do have the best third row in this segment, but this isn't far behind. Now let's go up back and look at the cargo space. So this is another area Ford spent a lot of time on this new Expedition. You're gonna see one of the big changes right here. Yes, there's actually a little tailgate on here now. And I'll tell you, living with this thing this week, I appreciate the tailgate for the simple fact that when you open this up, if you have loose items back here, generally groceries, but it could be anything, nothing falls out. You don't have to do the old, camp underneath the hatch and be ready to catch things because you have the tailgate. So that's just one of the uses. But yeah, that alone, actually, I think is pretty handy. And then once you put it down, it's out of your way and you can load up. So when it comes to cargo space, this is just over 20 cubic feet with the third row deployed. But then if we drop this third row and it's all powered, we can do it over here at the touch of a button. This now reveals just over 60 cubic feet of space, which is obviously quite a bit. So yeah, nice to have the storage. When it comes to features back here, a little bit of storage down there underneath your floor, plus some tools are hidden down in there. On this side, I already mentioned you're getting the controls for the seats. You're also getting a control here for the exterior lighting, which is pretty cool. And then on this side, you are getting a 12-volt plug and a proper 3-prong 400-watt plug, not to mention two USB-C ports. So yeah, a lot of cool plugins back here in the back of your Expedition. And Ford spent a lot of time talking about tailgating. They're trying to make this a space where you might want to hang out, before a football game or something like that. So that's why you have all this power here. Now there's one other feature I want to show you because I think it's clever. And this is an example of, yeah, it doesn't take, money, or it doesn't take some kind of crazy genius to come up with this. It's just a smart idea that goes a long way. This seat is actually in a 40-20-40 configuration. So you can fold down, in 3 different ways. And my favorite part of that is you can just put down that middle seat. Now there's a couple different uses for this. The first use is that if you have kids like I do, you can separate your children. That's my favorite use for it. I could put my son and my daughter back there and they have some space between them. They could still reach each other, but still that's gonna help. But the actual important use for this is if you're bringing long things with you. If you gotta throw some, I don't know, garden tools, some lumber, anything like that in your vehicle, now you have a nice channel straight down the middle and you can pile that stuff in there. So yes, I really like that flexibility. This is a vehicle that is meant to haul lots of people, lots of stuff, families and all of their junk. So the more sort of customization you get out of the way you can set those seats up, it just is gonna make life that much easier. So yeah, I really appreciate the cargo here on the Expedition. Ford also spent time on what they call the zone lighting on the Expedition, and you can see it here at night. It truly does light up all the way around itself, which can be quite handy. I also like the fact that when you open the hatch here, there are spotlights up above which are shining down, and those ones you can actually change the direction on to sort of shine them back into the car or further outwards. That is a neat little touch to make sure you can light up exactly where you need to. Okay folks, now it's time to hook up our trailer, and I'm going to use some of the technology here on this Expedition. So I have my Pro Trailer button right down here. We turn it on. Then it asks me, is a trailer connected? No, it is not. And now it automatically turns on your Pro Trailer Hitch Assist. This is smart because I actually have two trailers parked back there, so it's only going to look for the one that I put right in that circle. So we go right about there. Neutral. And then I take my foot off the brake, and all I do is hold down this Pro Trailer button, and the Expedition does the rest. Now I'm not sure if the height on the trailer is going to be high enough to get over the ball, but we're going to find out, and we're going to find out how the Ford deals with that if the hitch happens to bump the trailer. Let's see what happens. But this is all Expedition doing the backing in. Oh, look, it's very smart. Oh, man, it's too smart for me. I need to check for it. All right, hold on. It even put it in park for me. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, it did need a couple cranks. So now we go back into neutral. Put my seatbelt back on and hold the button and let it finish it off. Boom, there we are. So listen folks, it works well, it's convenient. If I owned this vehicle, no, it's probably not something I would use all the time. It takes more time than just me backing it in. And there's so many good camera views here that, yeah, I can see that hitch ball really clearly. So I do think as you get better at this, you probably would start using that less. However, I think the usage case is twofold. First of all, when you're learning, if you've never done this before, just doing it with the system will kind of teach you inherently how you want to back into that trailer. And then second of all, for someone else, someone you're loaning your vehicle out to, if they need to tow something and they're not used to it, well, you know, you have a bit of peace of mind as the owner that they have all these systems. The vehicle's going to do a lot of that for them. They're not going to, you know, back your bumper into a trailer or something like that. So yeah, it's smart technology. I don't think I would use it that often, but it does work well. Hold on a second, I spoke a little bit too soon. It actually backed up the hitch ball just a little bit too far. So I already dropped this down and it won't quite go on. And this is a heavy trailer, so it's not like I can move it by hand. So in this case, I gotta go back up and move the Expedition forward. So no, the system is not quite perfect. And there you go. So where technology failed, the old have a spotter and just yell at them, hey, is it good? That's what worked this time. All right, folks, and now here we are on the road with our 7,000 pounds worth of concrete behind us, and I tapped Dad in to do some driving and offer some wisdom. So, Dad, I think the real question, I have with this package is the fact that Ford really came out unusually and made a big deal out of the fact that you can do 7,000 pounds without an equalizing hitch. Equalizing hitches are usually dealt with in a manufacturer's owner's manual. It usually says in there that they're recommended at 5,000 pounds. Recommended is generally the key term there. But yeah, Ford really kind of made a big deal out of it. We don't see that, talked about in sort of the marketing speak very often. So, and I know it's perfect for us because we always tow 7,000 pounds too, so that just worked out. So I guess the first question I'm going to ask is do you somehow feel like there is an added stiffness or security or confident feeling that you don't get out of other full-size SUVs or that you didn't get out of an old Expedition? Does it feel like, wow, this is somehow incredibly better at towing than it used to be?
One word answer, no. It is incrementally better. And in the same way that most full-size SUVs, they're intended to tow, and consequently they do a pretty good job at it. But
Right.
Today, if you're asking me just about today on this road with this trailer, it's fine. And part of that equation is that they've tuned that rear suspension so that 7,000 pounds, it's sitting dead level. It's not washing around. There doesn't seem to be anything which is creating any kind of lurching or sway. And that's the thing with the equalizing hitch. That's the key thing that an equalizing hitch is going to do, is prevent sway.
Right.
In addition to giving you a zero attitude. So today, we're getting all that, but without the equalizing hitch. So yeah, this is a nice feature. Is it head and shoulders better than anybody else? No. But if you're buying this, chances are you're going to tow something sometime. So you can feel good about the fact that this will be a confident tow vehicle.
Yeah, and that's what I'm getting from over here. Confident is definitely the word. It feels planted. The fact that it's sitting, with absolutely no lift to the nose or no drop to the rear just makes it feel that much more confidence-inspiring as well. And this isn't even the max, so you could even get the longer wheelbase, and that would probably make it feel that much more solid too. So.
Yeah. However, let's not gloss over 7,000 pounds. 7,000 pounds is a decent weight, and in this sort of category, we're talking about RVs and boats. Those are
Right.
the two things that you're gonna really be looking at. Guys are gonna. That's what they're gonna be towing.
Right.
Because this, of course, is also a family vehicle. So you got a bunch of people in here, plus you got that amount of weight. So yeah, this is a good rig.
Actually, that was a good point though too, because it's always worth bringing up the conversation of not all trailers are created equal. And if you're asking me my opinion, if you put a 7,000 pound travel trailer back there, I would use an equalizing hitch, because the big thing with the travel trailer is big, tall, solid walls. So there's so much aerodynamic drag, especially on a windy day. You catch one crazy strong gust and it can really pull the back end of your vehicle around. So that's another reason why, I'm surprised Ford came out and said that, because I wouldn't say that for all trailers. For our trailer, a flat deck, which really has no aerodynamic drag or, wind resistance to it, all day long you're good without the EQ hitch. A big, tall walled trailer, I'm not sure that's true.
No, you're absolutely right. You can't just go by the weight.
Yeah.
The size of it, the shape of it, yeah, that's going to matter.
So Dad, I do want to talk cameras. So we do have a physical camera button down here, so we can get to our rear view camera at any time. And then you can go through the whole suite here, so you can get your zoomed in hitch view too if you want to check that connection. But easily the best camera that comes on while in motion is up there when you hit your turn signal. There it is. And it shows you down the passenger side of your vehicle, or down whatever side you're signaling. Yeah, that's a great feature, especially for trailering, because you can watch those trailer tires kind of track around the corner and make sure you're not going to clip a curb or clip anything for that matter. And then when on the highway, changing lanes too, it's nice to have that view, so I like that. So towing experience here, not massively improved, definitely better than it was before, and absolutely competitive with everything out there in the industry, all the other full-size SUV. This tow is as good, if not a bit better. So the towing is definitely a check mark. It's a thumbs up. now we got to talk interior, because this is definitely the other place that the Expedition changed the most. The exterior styling changed, a little bit. This is all new. It looks nothing like the old Expedition. In fact, it doesn't really look like any other Ford product right now with this whole kind of two-screen setup. Your sort of driver information up on the higher screen, and then you get your center stack screen down here. They've done some interesting things with the capacitive buttons on your steering wheel, which are touch sensitive, which as you touch them, you're kind of controlling a cursor up there on the screen. So a lot of different things going on in here. Let's just start aesthetically. Dad, what do you think about the way it looks? And this is the King Ranch, so you're getting, beautiful wood and the nice brown leather. Yeah, what do you think about the style?
The thing that jumps out at me is just the materials and the color contrasts, and by that I mean they're wonderful.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
It just is deep, rich, luxurious. So, and at this price point, like I always say, it better be.
It better be.
As far as the rest of it goes, I mean, there's no doubt that the screens are front and center in each case. It's just like, this is what's highlighted. And I guess this is the new normal, I can appreciate, this is the old guy talking. I'm not a huge fan of everything being on screens. I'm just not. But then, you know what? I also accept the fact that my opinion every year matters less and less.
Well, so I'll say the one thing I'm surprised they moved off of is HVAC. That seems to be the one thing most brands are keeping on physical buttons, because that's something you're going to adjust pretty much every single time you're in your vehicle, right? You're going to reach for the heat, reach for the air conditioning. And so that's the one decision here that I was surprised to see, that they've now built that into the screen as well. A lot of other brands have done that, but yeah, with these full-size SUVs and pickup trucks, I feel like that was one they were resistant to. But yeah, that's now fully in the screen. You still have your trailer brake controller down there, which is nice, physical trailer brake controller, even though I think those are probably going to start going away soon too and just going right into the screen. But then the other thing is sort of the safety and utility aspect. So I guess my other question is, what do you think about that screen up there as compared to a head-up display? Because you get your information, it's not in the windshield, but it's right there sort of in your line of sight. Do you like it more or less, or do you think it's about the same, accomplishes the same goal?
You know what, I mean, they looked at it and they said, look, how much peripheral vision, can you use? In other words, if I'm looking at that oncoming car, can I still see my speedometer? And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's smart, because the whole idea is here not to have to take your eyes off the road, which is the problem with the center stack. It always has been ever since these things, you cannot mess with this and not look at it.
Right.
Which is the reason, as you said, buttons and knobs, you learn where the buttons and knobs are, and you don't need to look at those to adjust them.
Yeah.
So, but this is I don't know, man, this has been going on for a while now, where, one company goes, yep, that's it, we're getting rid of all the physical knobs, and then people scream, and then they bring them back, and then they try it a different way, and sometimes I begin to wonder, is it fashion, or is it cost?
Yeah.
Is it they're trying to hit a trend, or is it truly that much cheaper to put it into the screen than to put a button over here?
Yeah, fair. And just how much is sort of, focus group driven and straight up feedback versus, bean counters and the cost of it. And this is just, another iteration of all of those ideas. Someone said, let's do that, no head-up display. However, let's get rid of some buttons and knobs. So it's going to be personal preference at the end of the day. I do think the one thing I'll say is the fact they put that screen up there, I like it for the safety aspect. You don't got to take your eyes off the road, and anything that's helping us keep our eyes on the road in 2025 is a good thing.
No, absolutely. If I got one other complaint, that's this weird-ass squashed steering wheel.
That was my next question for you. I've been driving it all week. I don't feel like I love it or hate it. I just feel like it's different. I haven't come up with really a positive or negative on it. It's just different. When it feels the funniest is when you're halfway through a corner and you feel like your hands are really close together, when it's kind of standing up at 90 degrees or 45. But yeah, I don't know. For me, I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's just different.
Yeah, I get that at least I believe that they squashed it so that it doesn't interfere with your line of sight
right
to the front screen. And frankly, it works, except for type maneuvering where you got to let the wheel slip on the way back. It's not like a regular round wheel that slides through your hand.
Yeah,
it's literally hitting your hand
catches
as it's sliding.
Yeah.
So once again, old man gripes.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting one. Yeah, so it's sort of like, is it worth the trade-off? I think you get used to it, is the short answer. It might take a minute, but it's definitely different. There's definitely a learning curve, and that's not something we've said for a while about steering wheels.
Yep.
All right, folks, we're going to try 0 to 60 with our 7,000-pound trailer, and on go, Dad. 3, 2, 1, go. 100. All right, that was a 15.26, 0 to 100, which is sort of checks out with what I said about the power. Not insane bonkers power, but a 15-second 0 to 100 kilometers an hour is plenty to merge confidently. And now you can see how that stacks up to the rest of the vehicles on the leaderboard. Well, folks, we have arrived at the end of this video. Now, I still have to drop the price on you. So for this Expedition King Ranch, as you see it here in this video, you're talking about $109,000 Canadian, and the Expedition actually starts just above $80,000 Canadian. So yeah, you're not going to get one of these things for cheap. But if you go ahead and drop that 109 grand, I can tell you the towing experience here is good. It lives up to the promise of 7,000 pounds with no equalizing hitch. It does everything else a full-size SUV should, which is haul people and stuff really well. And then I honestly believe that features like the tailgate and that third row where the center seat can come down, it's those things that set the Expedition apart, and Ford is hoping that is enough to draw some buyers away from General Motors, but for that, we'll have to wait and see. So that's it for this one. Go below, leave us a comment, let me know what you think of the Expedition. While you're down there, hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member. Hey, follow us on Instagram. There's a link in the description so you can find that. And then, yeah, make sure you come right back here to Truck King, see what we're testing next. See ya.